Hi everyone, thank you so much for stopping by. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time visiting with Mama Junior, welcome. Thank you so much. I will start as I have begun to do in some of my videos to let you know that I would appreciate if you share this video because you may not know who needs to actually receive this message. And even though it may not resonate a certain way with you, you never know who absolutely needs this message on today. So please share the video. And at the end, if you like what you hear, I would appreciate your subscription and your thumbs up at the end of the video, but we can save that till later. However, I will again just ask that you share it because whether you need it or not, somebody else really might need it, and it just didn't come up in their feed and suggestions for them to find it the way that you did. So let's get started. Mother-daughter relationships. This can really be a scalding hot topic because mothers and daughters typically bump heads really strongly, and it's not a rule. It's not a given that, you know, mothers and daughters is going to not get along, because I know plenty of mothers and daughters that are like best friends, sisters. You know, they are kind of like twins, one and the same as far as how they operate and think and do things. So there's definitely, without a question or doubt, that mothers and daughters can and absolutely do get along perfectly. And if you are one of those and you're watching this, please add comments as to why you think that you get along so wonderfully with your mom, because that is a great thing. You know, everyone doesn't have that. Everybody doesn't have that. Well, you know, I absolutely revere my mom and she can't do anything wrong. And, you know, on the other side of things, my daughter is the absolute best. She's never disappointed me. You know, everyone does not have that testimony. So if you are one who absolutely gets along with your mom, or you absolutely get along with your daughter and it has always been so, please, share some of that with the people that are watching, because folks need to hear that. On the other side of things, we do have people who have never really quite meshed well with their moms, or, you know, as a mom, they've never meshed well with their daughters and they just can't get it right. And so I want to talk about that today, because I want you to be on the other side of that thing where you are getting along with your mom, and maybe she never becomes your best friend, or maybe your daughter just never just idolizes you as you would like her to do, but at least you guys have a good, stable, sturdy relationship. Like, I would like that to be your story and your situation, if nothing else. So why does this happen? I think the reason that, you know, mothers and daughters differ and disagree strongly a lot of times is because one is not respecting the plight of the other. I think that tends to play into it the majority of the times. Somebody's not respecting the fact that this other person is an individual all their own. Some kids think that their parents were born 9 months before they were. Like, you didn't have a life, you don't know anything, you're not intelligent enough to tell me anything. You know, you only began your life to birth me. You know, people don't want to give their mothers credit for the fact that they have life skills and are trying to shield you and protect you from dealing with some of the types of people and situations that they've encountered before you came along. They're your mom. They want to make sure that, you know, they spare you any type of pain that may come your way. Because of that, some of these daughters don't appreciate it. They feel like, you know, you're trying to control me, you're trying to run my life. And until you get a certain age, that's what they're supposed to do. They are the boss of you. You're not the boss of me. Yes, she is. And that's her job. She's supposed to be the boss of you. She's supposed to, until you get to a certain point, tell you what to eat, what to wear, where to go, how to dress, when to go to bed, what to study, where you're gonna study, who to associate with, who not to associate with, like, how to clean your body, how to be a lady, Mom is the boss of you. I'm so sorry to let you know. That's her job. But there does become a certain time, I think, around those teenage years where daughters feel like, I can do this on my own. I don't need you anymore. And while you can do better for yourself than you did 5 years ago when you were a child, you're still not ready. That doesn't mean you don't need mom to show you a new set of skills and a new set of information to navigate this next stage of your life. Just because you can walk and talk on your own doesn't mean you're ready to navigate life. There's still a lot of big bad wolves out there that you have no idea about, and mom still needs to be the boss of you in a certain way, to a certain degree, and in certain regards, right? So I think that's part of the problem, that, when you get to a certain age, you start smelling yourself and thinking you don't need mom's help anymore unless you ask. And that's just not the case. And as your mom, she doesn't know how to say, oh, well, my baby's 13 now. She's 15 now. She's 18 now. I'm no longer going to be involved in the decisions that she makes or anything like that. No, she's been assisting you with life since she gave it to you. So she's not going to just chop and cut that off because you're having a little bit of leeway with making some decisions on your own. Doesn't work like that. I think the problem is some people buck so hard and rebel so hard against mom when that kind of time frame begins to happen for them. And so that begins a rift. That starts a rift with, mother-daughter clashing in that maybe relationship. And so I think people need to keep those lines of communication open. Because I said so worked with my generation, but it's changing. People don't adhere to that because I said so the same way that they used to. And so unfortunately, moms, you may need to explain a little bit, because I want to make sure you're safe, because you don't know about this and that, because I've been down that road. Maybe you need to give just a little bit of that explanation in order to make sure that your daughter can kind of see a little bit of where you're coming from with your mothering, because they're the ones who are new. They're the ones who don't get it. And so, it seems a little unnecessary, but sometimes, depending on the type of child you have, you may have to give just a sprinkling of explanation just to keep things calm. Also, I would say some of the problems on the mom side is that she's not allowing that child to become a young lady and then a woman, because that's her baby, because she does have the responsibility of protecting and making sure that she, has the happiest life that she can. So in some regards and in some respects, she doesn't, like I said before, know when to cut it off or back off just a hair and a little bit, so that, her daughter can start, navigating a little bit and figuring things out. And at some point, you have to appreciate that while you're doing the best that you can, it's still not you. This is not your do-over. So you do have to let your daughter make some choices that not gonna, necessarily hurt her, but teach her some things and allow her to figure some things out, because the last thing you want to do is develop a situation where she doesn't trust you with her information. She refuses to share with you what's going on because she doesn't want, the feedback that you're going to give her. She doesn't want for you to tell her no, even though you're going to tell her no. She doesn't want to hear that. So it's a matter of finding that balance. One thing that helped me when I was growing up is that my mom was very transparent about her life choices. She didn't hide or shield anything from me and my brothers about what she had dealt with before we came along and what she was currently struggling with during whatever time frame we were in of our lives. So my mother was a single parent, and she had me and my older brother at a young age. And so we saw and heard stories about what she struggled with. And I think it absolutely helped us to make some different choices when we became able to make those choices at those ages, because she didn't shield it from us. She didn't make it seem like she had some Mary Poppins life with a silver spoon and, fake that image with us. She was very transparent, and it to me, it absolutely helped us to do better with when that time came for us to make certain choices. We already knew better because she shared certain experiences with us. So if you are at a point where you're truly just, you don't know what it is, you don't know how to get through, some of these people, the mothers and the daughters are really hard to talk to because they begin the conversation with you defensively or very sensitive. You can't say anything to them that is not praising and uplifting them. They're on guard and defensive, and feelings are hurt instantaneously. And so I would encourage you not to avoid them, because that's only going to fester and manifest into something very bad. So I would encourage you, if you feel like you cannot communicate with your mom or you cannot communicate with your daughter because of those issues, write a letter. Write an email or an actual handwritten letter and give it to them or mail it to them. Give them time to read it, sit it down, get upset, pick it back up. Reread it. Just when you give it to them, ask them, all I ask is that you actually read the letter in its entirety. Whether you agree with my point of view, it's still my point of view. It's still how I actually feel. And I love you and need you enough to give you this information. I want it to be better with us. I want it to be different with us. And I don't know how to make that happen, because when we talk, we argue and scream and nobody is being heard, but we're just transferring anger and resentment towards each other. So can you please just read this letter? Maybe try a mediator, somebody who you both love and respect, another family member, a family friend, even a therapist or a counselor. I'm so big on counseling and therapy because of the professional set of skills that they have to help you get better and grow in your relationship. So try to find a mediator before you go through, the counseling and therapy, and just somebody who will make you both accountable for listening and hearing what the other person is saying and their point of view. And don't expect a miracle overnight. Don't expect, I told her how that made me feel. I told her, I didn't like that. And now we're shopping together and wearing each other's clothes. Don't expect it to work overnight, but absolutely try. Absolutely try. There are people who do not have their moms, and I don't mean to play the sympathy card on you, but it is what it is. They would love, and give up everything that may have some slight meaning to them to be able to just see, hold, touch, smell their mothers, and some their daughters, because they've lost their daughters too soon, because they were so angry and frustrated. They didn't try to make the relationship work. That person left here with knowing they had love for that individual, but not being able to really express it or spend the time with them that they would have liked to, because they were on bad terms. And I'm not saying you're not going to be on bad terms. I'm not saying you're not going to have disagreements and fallouts, but some last too long. Some disagreements last too long. Some fallouts go on too long. Some people have this constant, steady we don't get along thing going on between each other, and it can and needs to be worked on. You can't work on it when they're gone. So hopefully that helps you just a little bit, and I would love to hear your comments and feedback about your mother-daughter relationships, and this information that you share can definitely help someone else that's watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care.